So we're gonna wait, if kids get stranded in a
Great.
school bus that's
Okay.
electric, or parents or can't get to them because they have no
Hey Joe, how's it going?
Good, how are you, Mel?
potential.
After
Hey, Jeff.
putting out a few fires and great.
Hey.
Good evening.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Hurting ourselves, to get,
Hey.
Hey.
e-bikes.
We'll get it.
I worry about the batteries.
Oh,
with
yeah.
e-bikes, and I think bikes. Spending the energy, spending it to actually commute on a bike. That's a lot of effort.
Okay.
Electrically powered.
Yeah, we need one
Which
more
you then
for
have
Laura.
batteries to be disposed of, which are
Mhm.
problematic to begin with.
Oh, pretty good.
And the batteries in the cars.
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Bikes
Good.
can cause a fire. I mean, you have-
Happy New Year.
I was just about to say happy
Instead
New
of where-
Year. Did everyone have a good holiday?
Yes.
I'm ready.
I only spent one whole day in the airport without flying anywhere.
Yes.
But did you have Southwest?
No, I was Frontier. I'm way back from Florida.
Oh.
Seemed like everybody got one or two of those that was trying. I'm down this year.
I was so lucky. I flew out on Wednesday. The
There are
day
lots of
before it got
issues.
crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
And I was
right
on
now,
American
the
Airlines.
recycling.
It's like
Win-win.
for
Goodness.
I did it.
batteries
Southwest
is embryonic.
Monday.
Okay, it's very early.
Made it?
It's
Yeah.
reading some-
Whoa.
Like, that's a miracle.
Yeah.
How important
And
it
the
is
fuse rates that beat it out and then made it
that
to
we fund and
necessity.
develop these companies that.
We were all sitting there though, like on the plane, like
The
wondering.
problem is they're not. So the they're going into electric cars.
Drop your back.
I'm a
Because I'm counting
got
Matthew.
an 8-year-old
Yeah.
electric car that has
You're not there till we're good.
And we change out the battery on. So you can't
Who's the
reach
best
this.
Backing people up and they're hurting.
What's the best
Six
design?
We've got two. We've got a
And there's-
Nissan Leaf and then I've got a battery in my Prius.
Like,
So,
Oh.
you know, both of those, but
Yeah.
these batteries are doing exceptionally well.
Yeah, that's almost.
So it's just bad idea.
Lifespan.
Not enough people.
Exactly.
Pounded by a really bad idea, which is these one or two people in service, they trickle down.
It is. It is.
Almost a
But trying to compress them.
Or close to a decade or more, you know,
Forward. Well, weather is usually,
It's still, you don't have to go through that.
it was, I was trying to fly to
I just, I mean, if we.
We have to approve
Back
that.
here.
Oh my gosh.
And I'll do that after.
Yeah, it was. This, the only issue was.
Charge
kind of
vehicles within.
I can
pull up cities. I can't even see.
Everyone would miss their flight from back to actually.
Well, we can't afford to even live in a house anymore because we're so
Right.
Excel.
you know, and I've talked to Mike.
So everyone, we're just waiting for one more person to make
Literally.
quorum and then.
Yes. That is the idea.
We're gonna be driven by the clock tonight.
Are you ready?
We're just waiting for one more person to
Okay.
make quorum. So we have Matthew who will be bumped up to member since we don't.
Matthew's the hero tonight.
Matthew's the hero tonight, yeah, plus alternates. Because I believe Christine should be here because
Sure.
I know she's speaking at the
Yeah.
event at 6:30, so.
And don't forget my most important.
The pumpkin pie
Recipe.
I got a date.
Other
in
than
mind,
that, the
but
rest of it's irrelevant.
It was one of those random,
Here she comes, oh, she.
Got it?
it was one of those random like internet searches for coconut recipe pumpkin pie.
And you can't just email it to me if I give you my email?
No, I need to find it first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need to find it because I dug through this.
This is very important business for.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, okay, perfect.
I would like to try the
Stuff that
pumpkin
you
pie, not
suggested that
particularly
have
the
not
recipe.
on the
So
Need the recipe.
recommendation list. I find it
It's my
fantastic.
favorite.
It's absolutely my favorite.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, so we have 6 out of 4, counting Michael, so that would be over half, so we're good.
Okay. So I'll call the meeting to order. Thank you, everybody, for being here on time. I'm gonna apologize in advance. I'm gonna obsess on time because I got big things going on downstairs. Hopefully we can all show up for that, but slow me down if I have to, but we got a lot to cover in a short period of time. So if we could start, let's take roll. maybe start with Kara and we'll just go around the table.
I'll start. You said Stephen here, present.
Okay.
Member,
Jessica, member present.
Council Liaison Anderson present.
Mel England, liaison present.
Mike Chisholm, vice chair.
Rick and Alliance member present.
Kathleen Bailey, possible, what do you call it, when you're not really, alternate, thank you. What's my name?
We like alternates. We like alternates.
Okay. No, I know, I think it's excellent. I'm excited about the possibility.
Christine Breaker, member present.
Okay. And Matthew?
Matthew Schultz, alternate, present.
Where is he? Oh, it's-
Okay.
Great.
Well, thank you, everybody. I think we can call the meeting to order. Where are we here?
December 13th.
All right. Can we approve the minutes from the last meeting?
Motion to approve.
Perfect. And then second,
We have a second?
Second.
Jessica.
Okay. Thank you, folks. Next item.
Is to vote on the memo.
Okay, the memo that went out, hopefully everybody had time to read it. Mel did some, I think, great editing, trying to distill everybody's input. So we need to discuss it, suggest whatever needs to be suggested, or hopefully move to approval so we can shoot it to council.
So you could start, this is just one option, you could start by a vote of if you approve it as is.
Oh, okay.
And then if that doesn't get a majority vote, or if there's any other comments, then it can go from there if you
All right.
like.
So is that a motion? Somebody.
So you'd have to motion.
All right, so can I get a motion to try to see if we could approve it as is?
I want small change.
The way you would do this with Robert's Rules of Order is to make the motion, have the second, and make any motions on amendments.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'm sorry,
Motion to approve.
motion deferred, or we,
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve.
okay, Matthew, thank you. Do we have a second?
I can't officially second yet, but.
Seems like we need a discussion. So, who would like to speak? What's the thought or the feedback?
I'm impressed with all of it. Everything that everybody was talking about is on there, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
And all the corrections, I mean, all the advice towards
Well, I guess
clarifying some of the.
the draft that went out, I guess we're focusing on that in terms of, are there suggestions, corrections, or modifications that need to be made on that piece? Or is it acceptable as is?
Mike, do you feel your suggestions were incorporated?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I gave some feedback and they're accurately reflected.
I see Matthew has his hand up.
Yeah.
Matthew,
Yeah, I just had a point of order. So I think this is the first time as an alternate that I was, that I am one of the counted people. And so I just wanted to clarify tonight, alternates can motion or second things, correct?
yes, yeah,
Yes.
because
Okay.
you're, yep.
Okay,
Great question.
that was it.
I don't have changes.
No changes? Okay.
Christine, did you look at?
Yeah,
Do you want me to pull it up?
bring it up. It's on the, multimodal greenway one, and it says Little Dry Creek, but I'd like to say in there something around the downtown area to be clear that that's where we're talking about, because we already do have Little Dry Creek. And it just randomly dead ends. And.
I'm
it
sorry,
was-
Christine, what part?
So it's transportation. I think it is
Okay, right here.
involving Little Dry Creek through the downtown area. Where'd it go?
Okay, here. So have this say. This part right here with Little
Yep.
Dry Creek.
Instead of ending it after creek, say something like through the downtown area.
Do folks agree with that?
Yes, what's the group's feeling? Is that edit A-okay?
Great. That sounds good to me.
No problem with me. Do we need to vote on that
Motion to
officially?
amend
Hmm?
as noted. Motion to amend as noted.
I'll second the amendment.
We have a motion and a second.
Or would that-
Well, I don't, I mean, you guys, the commission obviously functions a little less formally than city council, so I was,
Thank you.
you guys can. do
And
that
there's
if
a
you want.
consent.
That's fine.
We like
It does say in the policy manual that we follow Robert's Rules of Order. I think
We're
we
trying,
have
Joe,
Bob's
we're trying.
But I think, yeah, we follow Bob's Rules of Order, but I think we have some wiggle room there that's totally fine.
Well, we have
As we were at
discussed.
council, we would have a main motion and second, and then we'd have a motion amendment, or motion and a second on any amendments, and then vote on those amendments, and then vote on the overall motion. But I don't know that that's necessary. That's a lot of voting.
I guess any nays to it, I think, any objections, I think would.
There are no objections. We've discussed it. Everybody's comfortable with it. I think we have a consensus. We have unanimous approval for those changes. So I don't know what more we can say.
All approved.
All right.
Any other amendments?
I just wanted to mention, and I'm not a voting member or anything, but you guys did ask me last time I objected to something when I was at a city council meeting that I should have warned you, so. I don't like the idea of incentivizing or anything regarding gas stoves. I think gas stoves are great. They're great for cooking on, so I don't want to, people want gas stoves, more power to them. That's kind of my approach there.
That's good to know.
That's
Thank you
one.
for sharing that.
That's one that I'm going to make a motion to strike when it comes before council. I don't know if I'll prevail or not, but.
There was something related to natural gas earlier, and it was just a suggestion. And I'm fine with education. I like knowing, I like that education language, but earlier we used when you talk about this, be specific. For instance, was make all houses all electric going forward. And that relates to natural gas, I assume. And that struck me the wrong way too. We had 3 days without power in my neighborhood, but we were able to have a furnace running, we were able to cook. All those pipes are already there, changing the infrastructure. I know that's for new only, it was in the language, but I think it's, I said when I was joining the commission, I wanted to be the guy that would raise his hand and say, let's think about the financial cost too.
Sure.
If we start making a lot of decisions that require more of our infrastructure than are feasible, we're not just changing a little bit of cost, because natural gas historically has been cheaper. I know that's changing. And if the concern is renewable, I know there's significant effort being made for renewable natural gas, which is gaining a lot of speed in the Northwest. So I'm not an all electrified home proponent either. And I think it was just an example, but I didn't like the example.
So would your suggestion be striking out all
It's up in the very first,
is it over here?
it's a higher section. It wasn't in the air quality.
Oh, I bet it's in build.
I think it was in
Built environment, yeah.
Built environment.
Yes. Yes, that right there, the second one, and change and improve. And one of the IEs or EGs, energy code for encouraging or incentivizing all electric.
Isn't that better than saying mandating?
It is way better than saying mandating.
But still not okay in your opinion?
Yeah, I think an all electric move is, I wasn't here for the discussion, so I'm a little behind and I apologize for that. But I don't know what amendment I would make. I'd just say I'm not a fan of that language. My options.
Can I jump in? If you want to strike that, that's fine with me, but I have a couple comments on what you said, if I may.
Yeah.
the vast majority of all furnaces and water heaters and gas stoves do not work if electricity doesn't work. Especially the new ones by code, because the blowers and the motors and the electronics in them need electricity. So typically if the electricity goes out, the furnace also goes out. And that's been a myth, I think, with all electric homes, that I wanted to make sure that we didn't perpetuate that myth. And then I also often hear concerns, maybe you were alluding to it, about capacity on the grid to handle these systems. And Excel has said they have plenty of capacity for electrification because their electric system was built for high summer air conditioning loads. And so they have excess in the winter because of that, and heat pumps, electric heat pumps and water heaters would take more of that winter load and essentially kind of smooth it out.
Can I ask a question? What's the benefit of, in terms of the environment or whatever, from moving to electric rather than natural gas?
It's climate change, carbon emissions in a nutshell, and that's because two things. Heat pumps are 300% efficient instead of 90-ish% efficient, so they're 3 times more efficient. But the bigger one is that since they can run on electricity, our grid is aiming towards 80% renewables by 2030. We're on track for that, or on track to exceed that, and then carbon free by 2050. So if you can use that renewable energy for heating and water heating, then it's renewable and carbon neutral. But gas will always be a fossil fuel, always with an asterisk. Like you said, they're working on renewable fuels. We put our biogas into the natural gas system, but the reality of that becoming carbon neutral in any of the future decades, it's not realistic. It will supplement, I think, the fossil fuels, but it'll always be just a small part. And our natural gas lines can't even handle high amounts of hydrogen in them. And so I think that that's way long term. And in the meantime, we have a solution that's available off the shelf. And now with natural gas prices higher and huge incentives from the Inflation Reduction Act, now the costs work out too, for both first costs and operating costs. So that's it in a nutshell.
I think I'm skeptical of the all renewable grid, I don't know if we go all electric cars, all electric appliances, and also all renewable grid. I don't think those are really compatible goals. And either one's going to fail and you're not going to actually have the renewable grid, or you're not going to actually be able to function, you're not going to actually have a functional grid at all, because you're talking about massive increases to the grid while also decreasing its reliability with renewables. So it's a nice aspiration, but color me skeptical.
That's almost
power on there.
That's almost arguing for it in a sense, because you want that natural gas that we're currently using for heating and water heating to be reserved for power plants when we absolutely need it for the grid. In other words, use it where we don't have viable substitutes, and don't use it where we do have viable substitutes.
Let me interrupt. This is a great conversation, and this is the kind of conversation this group needs to have. So thank you. It's fascinating. We never have enough time.
I know, we do have
Continue
time.
the debate another time.
Minutes.
The problem at hand, the objective at hand is this document that we want to send to city council. Steve, is there a word, a sentence, a phrase that you want to pull, alter, or modify? I guess I'll put you on the spot, because I hear what you're saying and I respect it. I'm looking at the clock thinking, I'd really like us to approve something going to city council along the lines of what this draft has.
Good question, and I should have come prepared with that. Identify option.
I was just thinking, for me, this doesn't necessarily work, but for educating, because I totally agree, because I don't know enough. So if we're gonna encourage and incentivize all electric, then I would want the education behind it. So I don't know if changing the wording.
Thank you. That's a good suggestion.
We're taking out the example.
If we took out the example, that'd be fine.
Okay. Thank you. I got the example.
The whole example or just the last part of it? Improve energy efficiency and consumption 10% by the base code, that out too?
Now, is this going into the document? Is the example, or are we just telling them, we really want you to be more concrete? Is the example going to show up anywhere in the document? Do we need an example?
This is the document. I mean, obviously, somebody would have to make it.
Plan,
Right.
right.
No, it would only be, yeah.
Now, this
Yeah.
is our
It's
opinion.
only a guiding
Right.
example for council.
I mean, as I understand it, this is the opinion of the Sustainability Commission. It's not binding. It's for city council to consider in their deliberations. Is that fair? So this is not a piece of document that's cut and paste, put into a final document for the city.
But we do want this strategic plan to include a concrete goal, assuming this
Okay.
whole thing stays. Such as to, like, we want it to say a number and not just have these vagues, we should do something nice here. So I think a number like that, we would hope would go into the strategic plan.
I mean, you could strike
strategic-
this last example right here and identify options with the energy code for encouraging or incentivizing. So you could have that first part if that's what you were thinking.
I guess there's nowhere in the plan that this sentence is expected to actually show up though, right? This is just use more concrete examples. This is in line with what we're talking about. Do something like this. We're not expecting them to actually write that sentence anywhere in the plan.
Right. That's
Right.
my
Right.
understanding. We don't
My
tell them
preference
how
would be
to
to just take
draft
out the
their,
example
yeah.
and trust them to know what
Yeah.
we mean by the word concrete.
Would, Joe, would this go to council during the retreat and would the council then say, okay, are we going to put some concrete plans together? Is that how that would? be
I mean, I would
interpreted?
suspect that Mel and Tim Dodd would work up a list of suggestions in keeping with this that we would talk about in regard to the strategic.
So you got, I mean, within the city, then there's going to be something come out of that would be more concrete than just a.
Yeah, if this suggestion was in there, then we would certainly at some point have a discussion on how to concretize that goal.
Can I make a suggestion then just to take out those last two lines there?
I have a
The
question.
improve energy efficiency and new construction all the way from there to that.
No, leave that second line and take off the third and fourth.
Yes, that's what I have down. So starting with identify options within. So right here.
Can that go then?
That helps.
I was gonna say, Steve, what do you think?
That helps.
Okay, okay.
I mean, I think we're not actually saying that the plan needs to have the words improve energy
Right.
efficiency and new construction by 10%. It's giving an example, and so I'm okay.
And then just to speed it up then, down to air quality, to address your concern. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, so what if we take out that middle sub-bullet? And I wonder if you might be okay with the other two. The first one, distribute education about proper ventilation near gas stoves. Does that also raise red
Oh, I'm
flags?
fine with, yeah.
That's good.
In fact, I like the idea of ventilating the gas stoves properly.
What about the third and final?
Yeah.
Distribute education.
Oh. Is that right, Hackles? That final sub-bullet?
The final one, I think is fine.
Okay.
Um,
Could we take out that middle bullet then
Yeah.
and then have one
Just to be
less,
sure you're talking about this one, correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
one
perfect.
less option, one less place of contention
Yeah,
at council.
that's fun. I mean, I want you guys to send, I don't want to have too much of an influence on it because,
But you know everybody else too. You know what
Yeah.
might spark some, concern.
yeah, but I also don't want to look like I'm trying to.
You're not,
You
you're
know.
good, you're good.
No, I don't want council to say that Joe prepackaged it. That's what I'm really worried about.
Joe, if you just said, these are not
Uh,
demands, these are examples of what they're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Rather than eliminating it, since you are aware and you're here, is there any way that you can
Yeah.
advise that's in there and just say, and they wanted you to know, these are not what we want you to copy. These are examples of what we're trying to talk
No,
about,
I-
to give them some ideas
Yeah.
to go from there, not necessarily adopt that one. Because I'm not confident.
So, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
we have 5 minutes.
I know,
conclude
to
this
get
meeting.
down there.
Is everybody comfortable with the suggested changes that we've been discussing?
Yes.
Then can I move that those changes get incorporated into the draft in your capable hands, Mel, and send it to city council?
So now we just motion if everyone approves, after the amendments, after everything, if everyone approves of the memo.
What she just said. Is everybody comfortable with it? Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Moved. Thank you, folks.
Got a vote still.
There's a
Oh,
vote,
and then
ready?
a vote, yes.
Vote.
Oh, all those in favor?
Yay.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. I think, we good?
Yes.
I'll do it in 3 minutes.
Okay. all
Okay.
right.
We sent some information out on biochar and I've been studying it. Rick and I actually drove up to the plant and had a tour. It's amazing. We met with Adrian Torres, Parks and Recreation, and we tossed out ideas about could Englewood use biochar? Is there anything we could do to create awareness and purpose to it? He was great. He said we could do maybe a small pilot, put some biochar in some flower beds or whatever. And I just wanted to let you all know that's what I've been up to. I'd really like to have a discussion of it in a lot more detail next month. Those links that we sent, Channel 7 News has 2 news clips that if you go to their website, they do a really good job of doing an overview and explaining what they're doing. So my hope is maybe Englewood has some kind of relationship or appreciation and use of biochar. Maybe the Sustainability Commission could have some kind of role or recommendations in that. And I'm really excited that there might be a project this spring where we could get involved in using it and studying it. So I'll be quiet. I have a biochar sample if anyone wants to look at. And so please, before next meeting, I hope you look at that information. And I think it'll be a lively conversation because there's some amazing things that biochar can do. for the
Does it
environment.
include the recipe of that particular biochar? Because I know
Yes.
there's some pluses and minuses depending on what it's made of.
Well, we need to send you the links and you need to come to the next meeting because it's
Okay.
fascinating. And I personally have done a lot of research on it too, so be glad to talk about
No
it.
longer worried about worms dying.
No, I got you covered. We can talk.
All right.
So, thank you.
It's up to you.
I'd like to have a motion
You don't
to,
have to motion, you can just adjourn. This is-
okay, we're adjourned. Let's go downstairs. Christine, do a
I
great
heard we
job.
already have 8 folks downstairs.
Okay, thanks you guys.
Bye.
Bye, Matthew. Nice seeing ya. All right, look at us go. We're so efficient. We're efficient, but